welcome back to a live version. Well, I guess we're always live, but
We're never
yeah,
live, actually. This is always
yeah, I guess we're never live.
pre-recorded, just like some other things that I know about that are pre-recorded.
Yes, those that we do not speak of. But welcome back to another breakdowns. Geez, I can't even speak today. Another MMA breakdowns and bets, you guys. I am in Jacksonville, Florida. I've got Mark Madsen, who is bumped up now to the main card because my other guy, Kelvin, got injured. So Kelvin ended up hurting his knee. Unfortunately, he's going to need knee surgery, and that's going to put him out probably 4 months to 6 months ish. But Mark got moved up to the main card. He's now opening the card, and then of course I have Korean Zombie fighting for the title. So we are in Jacksonville, Florida. Well, I am in Jacksonville, Florida, and Brandon, you are where are you at?
I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, 85022. No, sorry. Well, what have you been up to? It's been a little while since we've been here.
You know, just making bets.
How's
Cashing
vacation
checks.
been?
What's that? How's vacation? Oh man, I wish vacation was going. Been here for a few days in Florida. There's nothing to do in case you're wondering. And all I've done is sit in my room and eat like 4 times a day. Cause I'll eat and then Korean Zombie and his whole, family, they order all of this extra food too. So we're eating like 4 times a day. Haven't worked out once and just enjoying Florida.
I see you got a special LaCroix there.
I do have a special LaCroix. This is the Goose Island LaCroix. It's an offshoot, not quite the same, but so they, Zombie's wife is like, Zombie's wife said, "Hey, will you drink a beer?" Everyone was at the store, and I was like, "No, no, no," and they're like, "Come on, get something." So I said, "Fine, grab me an IPA." And Big, one of Zombie's teammates who came out here to help prepare for everything, comes back with like 3 cases of IPA for me. And I'm like, I am not like, I'll probably drink 3 cans over the course of a week. I am not going to hit all of those.
You know what? Our numbers have been sliding down a little bit, so let's see if you can drink 3 cans over the course of the next 30 minutes. That will really pull in the ratings.
Don't throw a bet my way. But it's
All
weird here.
right.
Yeah, let's do it. But I was just telling you, for you guys out there in YouTube land or podcast land, it's a little different. Fight week is different when there's a title fight on the line. It really is. Usually you go, of course, generally you fly out Tuesday through Saturday, fight Saturday, come home on Sunday. Life is normal. You show up, you do all the standard stuff, and you just, of course, it's a fight, so it's never a vacation. But title fights are different. There's a air of seriousness, and it's not like Zombies being serious, or when I was with Henry was being overly serious. Everybody understands the magnitude, bless thee, the magnitude of a title fight. There's more media, there's more cameras. We've got a Netflix person following us around. We've got Zombies YouTube channel following us around. We've got multiple UFC, Fox, ESPN cameras following us around. So everywhere we go, I mean, there's cameras everywhere. There's people everywhere. There's so much going on that it's just a little bit different. It's just bigger. It's so much bigger than a regular UFC fight. And then we're in Jacksonville with an arena, with crowds, with fans, at a hotel, not at the Apex. So it's a big, 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 exciting moment, and everybody feels it.
I've never traveled and seen an Asian without a camera, to be honest.
I don't know if that exists anymore, but yeah, it's man, there's a lot. So there's a lot of cameras around. Yeah, what's going on? Anything you got going on since?
Well, just a
that
few
you want to
things.
talk about?
Yeah. There's a couple things that we should just chat about really quick. I mean, we got a lot of catching up to do. So we had a week off, or an off week, whatever it is. That didn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything to me or you. That means that you just spend more time with the fighters. I spend more time researching. I have a fight now, hopefully in July.
Wait.
Killed.
When did this happen?
a couple days ago. I got a fight now in July, so there we go.
Is that on rough?
Uh, no, it's going to be Rise of the Prospect in Tucson, fighting our boy Pete Rodriguez's Mini Me, his
All
teammate
right.
Mini Me. Um, anyways, yeah, we had Cage Warriors. Now, let me say, Cage Warriors is probably the most fun promotion. We had the doubleheader Cage Warriors. Tons of fun, man. It's fun to watch fights like early in the morning and just Manchester's going nuts. I put out on my Twitter, so I barely use Twitter. Well, I used to barely use Twitter. I don't have a lot of followers on Twitter, but I put out a couple little like chains or trees, whatever it is. We call them COCs or BBCs. Hit a plus 3,000 parlay on the first day. And then I did a multi-event and hit a plus 1,700. I put it all out free. That's what we put in the Patreon, which you guys should go subscribe to. You know, just sick. It's just awesome. We were working while everybody else was sleeping. So the Patreon killed it, crushed it on Cage Warriors. And then we really crushed it on the PFL. And I have spent the better part of my morning battling MGM and all the other books that have voided every single bet on PFL. Uh, there's investigations going on. Arizona's about to drop you from ever being able to bet PFL again. So apparently the whole deal with that is they were pre-recorded fights. I just did my due diligence and I just studied the fights and I hit a perfect 5-piece parlay. And the books didn't like that. They tried to cancel my account. They put me in the negative $10,000. No bueno. So I've been trying to get all that corrected. And as long as we don't have a book sponsor yet, I love you, BetMGM. You got a special place in my heart.
Did they give you your money? Did they? What ended up happening?
Well, as any smart gambler would do, I won my bet fair and square. I took my money out into my bank account. I woke up this morning and they gave me a $9,000 negative balance, and I still had a $3,000 wager open on LFA this week, and they said basically you owe us $9,000 or you can't use your account again. And so I was like, dang, there goes my $3,000 bet. There goes, my MGM account, which I love MGM because they list little events. There's so many perks to MGM. And basically what they did, I had $41 left in my account, like just free cash. And they took my $41 and said, all right, we're even. Fair and square trade. So $10,000 for $41. I think we're going to be okay here.
It's not bad. Well, good for you. Glad it didn't get worse than that. I know some people got it way worse than that. It could have been bad.
You know what? I won the bet fair and square. It is what it is. I didn't have any kind of edge or anything. I just studied the fights like normal. That's their fault. Why am I getting penalized?
I don't get it either. Well, let's get into this week's card. We've got a lot on the card. Let me pull it up right here. Is there anything before we actually start talking bets? Is there anything that excites you betting wise or just as a fan?
Okay, I'm glad you said betting wise. We were about to have a whole conversation about BDSM. Let's take a look. Yeah, I can't wait to see Ian Gary this week. And I always love a good Julio Arsei fight. So I think that's where we're starting. And
that's going to be a good fight.
That Peter Yan's my favorite fighter. Yeah, Peter Yan's my favorite fighter, so can't wait to see that. Of course, Zombie and Volk. It's just a great week of fights.
Yeah, it really is. Let's go. All right, so we've got Julio Arce and Daniel Santos. Since you love a Julio Arce fight, why don't you kick it off, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, let me just make this really, really simple. This is a hard fight to bet, and it's not for anything other than we don't know who Daniel Santos is anymore. Is that his name, Daniel Santos?
It is Daniel Santos.
Okay. Man, I went into this fight. I was really hoping Daniel was way worse, and what I saw on tape, the only footage that we had, he's not horrible. He's a good striker. He's got decent cardio. He's fighting off his back. Like he does a lot of the right things, and he was a young kid at the time. So this is a really tough one for me because I love Julio Arce so much. Finally, he's at 135, the weight class he always should have been at. He does everything correctly. He's got a good team. He's got good cardio, good boxing, good fight IQ. I mean, really the bet here is Julio Arce to me he's the bet here, right? The other kid, as good as he is, he hasn't fought in 3 years. Now he's making his debut on probably the biggest pay-per-view of the year. So you got octagon jitters. You got a very, very tough opponent in your very first matchup. I don't think I can put serious money either way on this one. But as a bet, I like the boxing of Arsei. I like the fight IQ. Somebody told me he's like a third-degree black belt, which I was like, I don't think so. I don't think he's old enough,
You
but
got to be, yeah, you got to be a black belt for 10 years to be, 9 years to be a third degree.
somebody said that there's film of him 10 years ago as a black belt. So I don't know what any of that means. And belts don't mean shit to me in MMA. But I like Arsei just as a fighter. And I'm going to blindly bet him something small, nothing in big, because I can't. I don't have enough film or footage. But Arsei is the bet to me here.
I'm with you 100% here. I like, it's funny watching Daniel Santos. I wish he was actually better or worse than he is, or even stylistically different, because his stand-up is not bad. He loves the spinning attacks, loves the spinning kick, hits people with that quite a bit. His last opponent, I believe he knocked out with a spinning attack to the liver. But that kid's record, I think he was 7 or 8-1, all of which were like against guys who are 0-2. So, and he's a jiu-jitsu guy. So it's hard to gauge that. Santos looks good and does all of the right stuff. His opponents are really, that he's outstriking, aren't great. His 2 fights that are really interesting, really telling are, is it Murad Kalamov? And then there was another one, it might have been Astamarov, I forget. Yeah, it was Astamarov. Those
that
are
dude
tough
can
fights.
wrestle. Jesus,
Yes.
that guy can wrestle.
Yes. But what was impressive with Santos, he got taken down a lot, but man, he got back up every single time. So if Arsei was a wrestler and his hands weren't great, I would say, hey, choose Santos. He's great at getting back up. And his cardio is great. Now, cardio and ACB, and I wonder if this is why there was a long layoff. Let's just put our tinfoil hats on.
Oh, don't say it.
Sometimes, if you were to drug test everybody in ACB, everybody, including the promoter, would probably pop positive for that. And so I wonder, was his long layoff because of that? Did he have to clean up? Like what? Was it COVID? Who knows? But 3 years is a long time. 3 years is 3 years. His cardio was great. His cardio was phenomenal. His striking, although it's good, he likes really looping. He likes that big overhand. I think Julio Arsei is a lot cleaner, and really Julio Arsei's jiu-jitsu is really, really solid.
He's a stud. He is freaking
He really
good.
is.
He lost to freaking Song Yadong, who's putting everybody out, and whose Song Yadong is legitimately sick. He's so good.
And he's a sharpshooter, and his strikes are precision strikes. Santos' strikes are not that. I like Julio Arsei here, again, really because from what we've seen of Santos, from what I've seen of Santos, I can't say, hey, this guy is going to be Julio Arce. Now, there's a lot of unknowns, but what we do know is Julio Arce is legit. He's good. He's fought in front of crowds. He's fought in the UFC. There's not going to be jitters. We know what we're getting, and what we're getting is really good. So, again, careful on this, but I like Julio Arce here.
In agreement. All right, what's up next?
Let's see what's up next. I don't even know. Piera Rodriguez and Kay Hansen. Were you out there with Piera, with Vanessa, or was that the first fight?
I wasn't, but then I was actually out there that was the first fight. And then the second fight, I was out there while Kay Hansen was out there. So I've actually, kind of both.
So, wait, Kay was out there with Vanessa?
She was fighting on the same card.
Oh, okay. Piera was out there cornering with us with Vanessa. So she was out there fight week. She's a stud of a human, just what's that?
Never mind. Just keep going.
Yeah, just a nonstop workhorse. Thing with Piera is she's not overly technical, honestly, kind of anywhere. Like her striking's good, leaves her chin up, like really is not overly worried about defense, but she throws hard. She reminds me kind of Erin Blanchfield. Just mean. Throws heavy hands, good low kicks, lots of elbows off the break. But the biggest thing with Piera is that when she does get taken down, she immediately scoots back to the cage, but scoots right back, gets right back up. We saw her get taken down out in the open, and she definitely had a much harder time getting up there. Um, Kay Hansen is relatively good everywhere, but I just don't know that she knows how to win as much as Piera knows how to win. Her boxing's not bad. Her wrestling is decent, but it's definitely not world beater wrestling. Her jiu-jitsu is definitely her strong point. I like Piera here, and I think it's going to be nothing but cardio and guts and grit and just pure hatred that wins her this fight. And I think with cardio, I think we saw Piera gas out a little bit in her contender fight, but her fights before that, she's gone 5 rounds without a cardio issue whatsoever. So I wonder if that was just jitters, a little bit of nerves, but I like Piera here in this spot.
I am so with you. And I've seen so many people on K, and I was on K against Jazz. I was like, man, she's going to KO Jazz. She has horrible fight IQ. And this is becoming a trend. I wish that people's jujitsu was either better or was worse. She's right in that middle zone where she thinks it's really, really good, and it's shit. It's horrible. And not because it is actually horrible, but she's submitting white belts and blue belts in the gym. So she thinks she can do that in an MMA fight. And I just think that's a bad, dangerous place to be, because in the Jazz fight, we just saw her on her back for 3 rounds, doing nothing, throwing up arm bars, not attempting to get up, not striking. She just has bad fight IQ. And I remember the one thing, hanging out with Kay for a week. Okay. So I saw Victor Henry, the day before, like the weigh-ins and stuff. That guy had the most swag ever. I looked at him. This guy was like bothered to be there. He didn't even want to be there because he's like, I'm already going to win this fight. Why the hell am I even having to be here and go through this whole thing? And I had thousands of dollars on Rayoni, and I just went, shit. Like, this guy's got such a swagger. He knows he's going to go destroy this guy and doesn't care. Kay was the complete opposite. She was so focused on everything else. Everything else. She didn't really, like you said, fight week. She didn't seem like she was there for fight week. She was like, cool, I'm here for the media. I'm here for this. I'm here for that. Piera seems like the complete opposite to me. Piera is just a dog. She's mean. She's a workhorse. She's high volume. She hit a nice blast double on the Contender Series. I actually picked against her in that LFA fight. I took Svetlana. I thought Svetlana was pretty technical wrestler, decent striker, and I couldn't believe that Piera beat her. Piera's mean. She's nasty. You hit the nail on the head. She is just so much more of a dog in a dog fight, makes better decisions. And we've seen this. If Kay ends up on her back one time, that's it. She's gonna give up the round, trying to make things happen with her jiu-jitsu. And I just think that's a really dangerous place. I think she's fighting, really quickly since her last one. And Pierre's a tough fight. That's a tough matchup, the LFA champion. So I don't understand why the line is so close. I thought Pierre would be a much bigger favorite here. I like Pierre a lot.
You mentioned something with that Svetlana fight. She showed such good fight IQ with that, where anytime she was about to, go to the ground, Svetlana was throwing up armbar. She knew how to disengage. She knew when not to go there. She knew when to even get off the fence and let go of the clinch because she was, going to jump to something. Her fight IQ for being 7-0 is way above what you expect it to be. She knows how she's going to win, and it's super impressive watching that.
I'm so with you.
Next up, we've got Fluffy Anthony Hernandez and Josh Fremd. And this is a really interesting fight. I'm curious. We're going back and forth on these. Let me hear your thoughts on this first. I'll give you mine. This is one of the big question marks that I have on the card for a couple of different reasons.
Okay, I actually love this fight again. So I have known Josh Fremd for a long time. I've made money on every Josh Fremd fight for a while now. Win or lose, I know Josh Fremd inside and out. He's chinny. He makes bad mistakes. He thinks he's better than he is. But at the end of the day, he hits jabs. He hits low kicks. He can wrestle a little bit. And he does exactly what he needs to do. I was pumped when he beat Joel Bauman because Bauman is just a freaking weirdo. He trains at Jackson Winks. He was a Minnesota wrestler, freak athlete, but he's just a freaking weirdo. And I knew those Jackson Wink guys were going to lose eventually. There's a whole group of them. They're all going to lose eventually. But Fremd impressed the hell out of me in that fight. Jab, low kick, out wrestled him, took his back, choked him out. Frem, I was so happy because I was like, man, I can't wait to fade Frem in the UFC. Like, sick. Anybody who can throw a decent punch is going to put him to sleep. And weirdly, I love him in this spot. I love him in this spot. He's so tall. He's so rangy. He's got good cardio. He's got good fight IQ. He can wrestle. He hits body shots, leg kicks. I just think that this is an easy one here. I really don't see how Fluffy. I don't see how Fluffy gets it done here. I mean, he gets taken down all the time. His cardio's not great. He goes for broke early. I think Frem is a great dog play here.
Interesting. Okay, that makes me happy because I've been on the fence with this one quite a bit, and in my thought process is, um, like Hernandez, he's got good head movement. He's very a little awkward standing. Gets clipped. He's a little chinny too, not like horribly chinny, but he gets hit and definitely gets wobbled. He doesn't like getting hit. Um, the issue with that with Hernandez though is his stand-up's not bad, but more than anything, he is down to fight, and he has got dog in him for days, whether it's standing. And although he lost the Marcus Perez fight, he got taken down or shot in, got thrown on his head, got back up, kept shooting, got thrown on his head, got back up, kept shooting. He just doesn't care. He is relentless, and his cardio is relentless, and he throws. What I'm worried about here, and this is my issue, I'm worried about this fight going into the second round and Frem getting out scrambled, and then Hernandez Fluffy finding a neck. And that's what worries me here. And I just don't know, like you said it earlier, I think Frem thinks he's better than he is. He's got, and I was actually talking with his management earlier, he has gotten significantly better over the years. If you see him from the first fight we find online till his last fight, he looks infinitely improved, just so much better, so much better. That said, and you hit it ones and twos down the middle, great range. He's tall and he's got that low kick, and they're great. The issue though is he doesn't really like getting punched. Like I think when he's on the outside, yes, he just reaches. When he's on the outside looking good, he looks good. When people get inside and kind of swing, you see the inexperience coming out, and you don't necessarily see. And really, with him is, I think he just needs a little bit more sparring time and a little bit more fight time, and he'll come into his own. I just don't think he's there yet. I think he probably looks a lot better on the mitts than he does in sparring, just because the amount of minutes done on both of them. And my worry is that Hernandez gets in there and just dog fights the shit out of this, and that Fremd, his cardio doesn't hold up. And I think he's a decent wrestler out in the open, but I am not wowed by his cage wrestling. And Fluffy has shown just a good fight IQ, not even a good fight IQ, but he knows what he's good at.
Yeah,
he's just game, and he knows how he's going to win. He's going to get on the inside. What he did to, some of these Koreans with their 500 names, Eric Anders is fighting him next. Jun Park. That I think is a very, very similar style fight of this in the sense. Now Park is shorter. Don't get me wrong. It's not 100%. Park has clean boxing, and he's fast, and he throws well. He's got relatively decent wrestling and relatively, a solid Anaconda and Darce. He's gotten some wins there. And Hernandez was losing that first round, or at least the majority of that first round. Couldn't find his range, couldn't figure it out. And he just kept pressing and pressing and pressing and pressing. And his pressure broke Park. And then he went out there in the second round, broke him, took him down again and again and again, and ended up finding that choke. And that's what I worry about here. I think if Frem's going to win, I think Frem wins in the first round. I think if this fight goes after, if you guys want a live bet, I think if round one ends, bet Fluffy. Again, I think that's a good bet here. I think that Fremd is the better, cleaner fighter in so many areas, but I think Fluffy is the better fighter and the dog. And if he gets clipped early, and we've really only seen him, really beaten up. Let me see. I'm going to pull him
Kevin
up
Holland
now.
beat the hell out
Kevin
of him.
Holland. And Kevin Holland is Kevin Holland. He hit him with that knee. Frem's
I
tall
think Frem
though
does Kevin
too.
Holland.
What's that?
I think Frem does Kevin Holland.
I could see it. I could absolutely see it. I could absolutely see it. Now, if you bet Fremd to win and round one ends, hedge your bet with Fluffy.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and that's why I think, again, I think this is a toss-up fight for me. I think Fremd should win. I just wonder about that durability and that dog of Hernandez, and that's why
I
I
think the
think
dog is going to be his downfall in this fight. I think we overrate his dog a little bit. He beat, gassed out Hodolfo after losing the entire first round. Frem trains at altitude. He trains with Dustin Jacoby, friend of the show, every day. And I actually asked Dustin because he put a post one time that said Frem beat the hell out of him for 4 rounds. And I said, hey, is this real? Like, did he actually do this? He said, this dude's a killer. This dude's awesome. And, that's sparring rounds, whatever. But he's doing 4 or 5 rounds at altitude. I think he's the better wrestler. I think he's going to offensively wrestle. But I think Fluffy's willingness to be a dog is also going to lead him into big, straight punches. And I could easily see Frem put him out in 1 or 2. I just think if you're playing, DFS or whatever, I think Frem is a great, great, great option in this spot.
nice. I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to it. I guess, yeah, I really, it's one of those things where I wonder what happens after round one with Fluffy in there, who's grabbing necks. I definitely could absolutely see Fremd catching him he's got really clean range striking and off the break as well. I forget who it was, and it might have been his last TFFC fight or the fight before that, where just right off the break, just a short little right hook over the top, just slept a dude. Really
that
solid,
was that
really
Brazilian dude.
that was the Brazilian guy. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, I like this fight. I'm very curious to see how this plays out.
All right. Next up, we have Alexei Olynyk versus Jared Vanderaa.
Man, this is another fight I was talking about just a little bit ago. In every Alexei Olynyk fight, he was supposed to fight Alir, and then he was supposed to fight a while ago. We were talking about him. And man, honestly, and I don't say this to be rude. I don't say it to be disparaging. But this isn't the who's better, it's who's worse. Like, you've got Vanderaa, who I think is on he's lost 3 of his last 4. And you've got Olynyk, who has lost, 5 of his last 7. And I really think this comes down to who has more gas in the tank after 1 minute and 7 seconds. And, Vanderaa is big, but the thing with him is he's generally uses his size, pushes people against the fence, will eventually either get a takedown or sprawl and end up on top. He kind of bullies people like that. He's not overly fast, and he's not overly dynamic. He usually wears people out, takes them down, beats them up. On the other side of that, you have Olynyk, who has, in his last fight, his cardio was not bad. We have seen Olynyk with Verdum, 2 old men, hands on their knees, and I'm going, what in the hell are we watching? Who sanctioned this geriatric street fight over here? And then, but, Olynyk just head down, swings big right hand, big left hand, hard punches. I don't think he's knocking anybody out, but he knows how to close the distance. The most telling thing about this fight was watching Olynyk with Derek Lewis round 1. Took a couple of shots, didn't die, and actually pulled guard, was on the bottom. I forget if he pulled guard or got tripped, whatever, but he's on the bottom of Derek Lewis, who's a fridge. Comes up, hits a half guard sweep, gets up, runs a single leg, puts Derek Lewis on the ground in round 1. And of course, Lewis is Lewis, whatever. But I was really impressed with that. And with seeing that, I think he might be able to drag Jared Vanderaa to the ground. And I feel like at some point he's going to scramble and wear Vanderaa down. And I think he's going to end up getting a head and arm, neck crank, a hairy belly on the nose where he can't breathe, type of 2 tired old men and Olynyk's on top and finds a victory somehow. I'm not shouting from the rooftops here, but do you think I'm crazy?
Yeah, I think you're crazy. I think this is going to be like one of the easier spots on the card. I think Sergey Spivak fights like a punani. He was, he's such a counter puncher, jab and move, and then wrestle and takedowns. But he didn't want to go to the ground with Olynyk at all. So I think that this is weirdly maybe one of the only winnable fights for Jared Vanderaa in the UFC. You have old Olynyk who's constantly going to make mistakes, constantly going to just screw up his own fight. I think Vanderaa is a black belt, and he's actually shown some skills. He did decent against Romanov round one, standing up and being a little bit more agile. He constantly presses forward. He works in the clinch. Big old bricks for hands. I think that Latifi, I could have seen Olynyk beating. Vanderaa, weirdly enough, just the younger, just kind of more solid guy. I think Vanderaa gets this one easily. I think Olynyk is just always finds ways to lose the fight for himself. He's going to pull guard, get smashed, and quit. I like Jared a lot here.
Okay, interesting. Again, he's lost 3 in a row. One, I thought I think he could have won that Spivak fight. Watching it again, I thought it was a toss up, but I think he could have won it. And then his 2 losses before that are Dawkins and Derek Lewis. And Dawkins is just a fast, dynamic kid. Lewis is Lewis. My thing with Vanderaa is he's just so slow. But what he does really well is he gets back up. So you saw it in that Romanov fight round 1. He got taken down a couple of times and just finds his base and scoots to the cage and gets back up.
Which big, heavy hands, presses forward.
Yeah. So okay, I'm that's a coin toss one to me. I think Olynyk is going to end up, winning this one. But I really could see this one going any which way the cardio flies.
All right, next one I really, really like. What do we got?
We got Mickey Gall and Mike Malott. What do you got here? What's your thoughts?
Okay, now this one is super, super interesting to me. I love this fight, and actually, not even going to necessarily pick a winner, but this is one of my favorite picks of the week. The over 1.5 in this fight. I love it. And here's why I love it. Let's take a look at Mike Malott. So Mike Malott is an alpha male guy, Canadian alpha male guy. Let's see. He lost to Hakeem Dawodu. He beat Solomon Renfro, beat Shimon Martirosky on Contender Series. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. His striking, just like we talked about with Josh Frem, he reacts horribly to punches. He gets rocked a ton. Even in the Solomon Renfro fight, he was getting rocked every 2 punches. He reacts horribly to punches. He shells away, does not like to get hit. He's very uncomfortable getting hit. And all of his wins are submissions, right? Or, he's finishing all these guys by submission. Now, Mickey Gall, I will always come to bat for Mickey Gall. And I don't know why, because, everyone hates on him. I like Mickey Gall. I think he's actually got real skills. I do think he belongs in the UFC. He can beat some guys. But you have 2 white guys chucking leather at each other. I never trust white guys to knock each other out. It just doesn't happen very often. And Mike Malott's whole game, he's a black belt. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. Well, so is Mickey Gall. Mickey Gall is a good jiu-jitsu guy. Almost, again, too good at jiu-jitsu because now he wants to play it all the time. The 1.5 is at minus 140. I don't know how you could avoid that. Mickey Gall, since he's been at Sanford, is a much more patient striker, right? You see him keeping it simple, stupid, just like Henry Hooft has him doing. 1s, 2s, low kicks. He's taking his time, having his head movement, counter wrestling. I think Mickey Gall's in a great spot here to get an upset. I can't believe he's that big of a dog against somebody who hates being hit as much as Mike Malott. But the 1.5, I just think their games neutralize each other. I don't think Malott is some crazy big power striker. He tagged Solomon Renfro, who we have seen him be chinny, and he comes in just trying to throw bombs, and that's when most people get knocked out anyways. I don't think either of them are huge power punchers. I think their jiu-jitsu neutralizes each other. I like 1.5, and I could see Mickey Gall for an upset.
I'm not opposed to that. It's funny you say that because I like the 1.5, but I also like that the fight doesn't go the distance. I think what's his name? Malott only has one fight that has gone the distance, and I think it comes down to Mickey Gall's cardio. And I think Mickey Gall is going to. I think Mickey Gall is going to submit him or maybe lose a decision. I don't know. I say under
See, now you
because
can't see where the fight's going because who's going
I
to
know
submit
now
who?
I'm
They're
kind of
both black belts.
I know. I'm going all over the place here because I mean Malott I think only has one fight that has gone the distance. Mickey Gall's cardio has generally not held up, and the
But it
issue,
did last fight.
yes, but that was almost all standing. I mean that was a stand up battle. Mickey Gall gets tired when he grapples, and I think if Malott wanted to win this fight and was smart about it, he would grapple early because Malott is a scrambling grappler. Mickey Gall is a control, take your back, beat you up, choke you out.
His top game is
Uh,
sick.
yeah, Malott is a scrambling. I'm grabbing necks and wiggling and going, and like he's throwing stuff. If he throws stuff like crazy at Gall, and Gall has got to scramble and scramble and scramble, Gall is going to get tired. And if he wants to really get Gall going, get him wrestling early, get him jujitsuing early, and he is going to fade. If you let Gall strike, you said it. He's a lot more patient than he was. He will do that because he doesn't want to get tired. And so I think his striking is getting better. I think his striking is getting more patient. But you can't be patient when somebody is throwing a submission at you. You have got to address it and you've got to scramble. It's not like striking, somebody's swinging and you can just move away and disengage if you want to be patient. Somebody's shooting on your leg. You either have to be that good to where you're not getting tired and you're just shoving the head, smashing the hips, or you've got to scramble your ass off. I think if Malott is going to scramble here, I think that's a thing. The other thing that we haven't talked about, Malott was a 145er. I mean, that's a 145-pound human who took some time off and is now at 170. Do you know what happened there? Like why the jump in weight?
Lots of poutine.
Yeah, those Canadians love their poutine, but I do like Gall for an upset here. But Gall likes to fade too. I
You
like
just
the
made a
over
bunch of
one.
cases against Mickey Gall. Now you're saying you like him for an upset.
No, I know. I'm not even making cases for or against Gall or Malott. So you guys were like, "Whoa, Santino's talking out of both sides of his mouth." I absolutely am. I absolutely am. What I'm trying to do is really just throw everything on both of them out, so you guys can decide. Like, if you're leaning Gall, if you're leaning Malott, hopefully I say something that either helps you or forces you away. Whatever, you guys can make your own choice. Um, I think Gall has got to win this under 1.5, and I think Malott has got to win it after round one ends because I think Gall is going to fade, and I think he's going to get sloppy, and I think Malott is going to come on hot and heavy the second he senses Gall fading out a little bit.
God, we just don't know. We've never seen Malott go over a round, so we just don't know anything about Malott. He could be weak. He could be gas. There's no footage on him to see how he looks over the course of 3 rounds. So it's just
Yeah.
impossible to say. And Mickey Gall has gone 3 rounds with Morono. He's gone 3 rounds in the UFC. He's won. He's lost. It's a hard fight to judge.
Yeah, I like Gall early and I like Malott late here.
All right. Next up, we got Aspen Ladd and Rocky Raquel Pennington.
I'll go on this. Aspen Ladd, she's got actually a decent resume. All right, she's 9-2. Lost to Norma Dumont, which I think you and I both called. I think she might have been a dog there too. I forget. And she lost to Jermaine Durandamy. Got knocked out by Jermaine in round 1. Dumont was a decision that we knew was going to decision. And really, that came down to Dumont just being a big, thick, hip girl and Aspen Ladd not having the wrestling to address it. And I think the most telling thing about this fight is that Aspen Ladd, once she gets fighting a little bit, once she gets grappling a little bit, and this is going to sound very sexist, but she starts punching like a girl. And she's square. She just kind of like pistons her arms out, chin up, isn't turning her hips, isn't sitting down. And I think if she gets on top, she's a horse. She's quite a bit to handle. She's kind of bullies her weight around. She bullies girls with her weight. Against Pennington, if we're talking about dogs, she's like the ultra dog. You could hit her with a 7-piece, and she is just standing there unwavered and just keeps pressuring and pressuring and pressuring. And that's what I love about her. She's got good hands. She's got really good clinch work. And I think Aspen Ladd, for most fights, she's going to end up really bullying people around, pushing them in the clinch, hanging out there a little bit. I don't think she's going to do that with Raquel. And Raquel's wrestling's not world beater-ish, but Aspen Ladd's isn't either. And Raquel will attack quite a bit on the ground from her back. I don't think she's going to submit anyone, but she moves enough and wiggles and creates space that I think she's back up. And I like her pressure, and I like her boxing, and I like her clinch work. I think her clinch work is good. She trains at elevation. She's going to have the cardio, and she's going to have the dog to press for 3 rounds. And I think this is just going to come into a dog fight. I think it's a 3-round fight. I love the over 1.5 here. If you want to go crazy, it goes to decision. I like Raquel as the winner, but over 1.5, I think is just a solid, easy, clean bet. You're probably not going to get the best odds, so you throw it with another, couple fights you love to sweeten it up.
Yeah, I've been back and forth on this one all week. And, what's funny is like most people don't even need to watch these shows this week because everyone's already got their mind made up. They've had 2 weeks to stare at this card. They're all going to do the exact same parlay. So it's these in-between fights that are really, really tough. And, again, I'm going to say it's the unknown it's the unknown that's tricky about this fight. Aspen Ladd of old, okay, we know she's going to come out, wrestle, grapple, and that's going to be her entire game plan. And then we watch her against Norma Dumont. She didn't try anything. She didn't do anything. She didn't try to swing. She didn't try to wrestle. Nothing happened there that was of note or that we could take from it. So it would be irresponsible of me to say, like, I think Aspen Ladd's going to take this. We don't know what we're going to get. We don't know if either of them can make weight. We don't know what we're going to get with Aspen. I think Rocky's by far the better striker. She just, she knows how to be game, keep pressure, do everything correctly. But what I don't like is when she's taken down. That's obviously always the thing. And Aspen is sick when she gets on top. She's heavy. She out-grappled Sijara. She out-grappled a lot of really good people. I think you're exactly right. 1.5 is beautiful there. Parlay that with Mike Malott, Mickey Gall, 1.5. There you go. I could see both ways. Rocky, I would love to see Rocky win this one. For some reason, I'm thinking Aspen Ladd's going to take this. I think she's going to get Rocky down. Pummel. That's it. I think that's how the fight's going to go. But I like the 1.5 here.
Man, I mean, Rocky went, 4 or 5 rounds? I think she got stopped. Pull her up really quickly. She's on a 3-fight streak, lost a decision to Holly, and then was stopped by Amanda in round 5 by ground and pound. She beat Misha Tate before that. Misha Tate is a known grappler, a known wrestler, who I think is an infinitely better wrestler than Aspen Ladd. And
infinitely better?
I just... What's
Misha
that?
Misha Tate
is a better
wrestler
than Aspen Ladd? Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'll shout that from any rooftop.
Jesus.
And yeah, I think she's fought better, tougher opponents, and I think she's mean. I think she's got that mean hate in her, and I think Raquel wins this. And I again, the 1.5 I think is an easy play, and I like her for the win.
Alrighty. Next up, we got Jairzinho Rozenstruik and Marcin Tybura.
Who you got here?
Oh man, I have been back and forth on this one all week. I creep around the MMA Twitter space just to hear what everybody says, and everybody thinks that Jairzinho is going to put out Tybura quick and easy, quick and easy, quick and easy. My problem with Jairzinho, for as young as he is, as powerful as he is, as all the tools that he has, he's at ATT, King Mo's in his corner. He should be having all these really good things. He's got 82 kickboxing fights. Yet he's losing 99% of the stand up. He's losing 99% of his rounds. I was trying to go back and watch a lot of his film, and it's almost like he loses every single round and every single fight until he doesn't. I mean, barely ever is he winning a round. He's so timid, and I don't even want to say calculated. It's just like he's gun shy. He's so afraid to throw punches out there until he lands one. Um, this is another tricky one, and I wanted to really pick Jairzinho here. Tybura is just high guard. I'm gonna just throw front kicks and teeps and work my way inside and get you to the ground, and then bully you. Um, God, this is just so stay so far away from this one because I think this fight is going to surprise a lot of people. I really, really do think this goes over a round or a round and a half. I think that Tybura probably works his way inside, gets him down a couple times. Rozenstruik gets back up, and then it's who's busier on the feet. God, this is a really, really tough one for me. My brain and logic is saying Jairzinho is going to take this, but I could see a big upset by Tybura here. I think people are overlooking him and just his weird kind of style and his grappling and just his overall just sticking in the pocket and being game.
I like Jairzinho here. I actually think this is one of the better odds plays of the night because, I mean, if you look at Marcin's wins, I mean, he lost to Volkov. There's no harm in that. Walt Harris, when he took him down, he just stopped fighting. It was like he didn't even try to win. Greg Hardy, when he took him down, he just stopped fighting. He was in Greg Hardy was in half guard. Marcin Tybura threw one punch, and Greg Hardy just covered up and just stopped fighting and took the loss. Take those wins right off Tybura's record because he didn't win them. Those two people just completely quit. He got knocked out by Sakai. There's no harm in that. Shamil knocked him out. I don't think people give Rozenstruik enough credit. One, I think he's definitely a counter fighter or patient or lacking.
I was going to say, is he? He just doesn't do anything until he does.
No, but he lacks. No, he goes out there, and when he finds, but he's very patient. And maybe that's a cardio thing. I don't know why, but he's definitely inactive. But he's there, and he waits, and he waits. And when people engage him, he definitely fires. It's not like he is running away, hands in the air. He checks kicks. He will fire as they fire. He's dynamic. He's got the kickboxing experience. He will set up low kicks, and he will, I mean, again.
Him and Slava were kickboxing at the same place.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing with Rozenstruik, though, is and people sleep on Alistair Overeem's grappling. Even before Overeem was old and was done, he won the ADCC European trials when he was still like young. He's a good grappler. He turned very good grappler even in his older age. And yeah, Alistair got him to the ground, but Rozenstruik defended quite a bit, got back up a few times, held his own, was side mounted. I mean, I think Alistair is a very, very, very good ground guy. I mean, look what he was doing with Sakai. Sakai was winning the stand-up. Overeem took him down and beat the shit out of him for it. And Rozenstruik was able to nullify that. He went to a decision with Curtis Blades, all right? Stood up a few times, was not beaten. If Curtis Blades is not stopping Rozenstruik on the ground, I don't think Tybura does. And the issue with Tybura is he's got this weird pawing kind of fight style. He like kind of thinks he's good and he's there and he's reaching with his right hand, almost like TJ Dillashaw-ish, like he's trying to draw you in. But he does it for too long. And that's the thing is he doesn't know how he's going to win until he starts to lose. And that's when he starts wrestling. It's after he's already been beaten up on the feet and he's not comfortable there. And I think he's going to test the waters on the feet. And I think he's going to do it for too long. And I think that's going to be him getting caught by Rozenstruik. But even if he doesn't, I think Rozenstruik is a functional enough defensive wrestler and a functional enough defensive grappler that he doesn't get finished. And so now the real option is who wins the decision. So you've got Rozenstruik, who can put the lights out early, and you have Rozenstruik, who can get back to his feet, win some moments. And now all of a sudden it's like, all right, well, who wins this? I'm going to put my money on the striker who's going to stand up every day of the week versus the grappler that doesn't grapple until he doesn't win the striking battle.
You sold me. I think that's kind of what I needed, and that was my look too. I watched the Junior Albini fight with Rozenstruik, and he actually stopped a couple takedowns. He looked bad in that fight until he didn't look bad in that fight, and that's almost everything. But he does show decent hips sometimes. The Blades fight, it looked like he just kind of quit at the end, but it also is Curtis Blades, and Curtis Blades,
I
beating
believe
the
it was
shit
a
out of him on
5-round
the
fight,
feet.
right?
No, it wasn't. It was a 3-round fight, but
was it?
he was beating him on the feet and then mixing in takedowns. And I just think he was so lost. And like, why can a heavyweight move like this? So I think that's what I needed to hear. Okay. I like Jairzinho here.
All right. Who is next? We've got. Oh, and going back to that Jairzinho thing, I think, let me look. I think he was like minus, I threw some money on him. Nothing crazy, $100. And I think he's minus 155 now. I got him at 130, minus 130 earlier. And I'll have to check, but I threw him in a parlay with something else, with some overs.
You're beating the CCV or whatever the hell.
What's that?
I don't know. I'll just be saying terms that everybody else tells me.
All right. Next up, we've got Ian Gary and Darian Weeks. I will kick this off. You kick the last one off. I know you've been big on Ian Gary before. And I was, like whatever, wish-washy. I thought he got that Jordan Wright fight. Of course was it Jordan Wright or Jordan? There's like 17 Jordans. Jordan Williams. Sorry. Williams came at him like a bat out of hell. Rocked him a little bit, caught some punches, was kind of, in his face. But that's a hard thing to deal with when somebody comes at you like Williams does. I almost forgot. I need to show my cool.
I don't get it. What is it?
It's a Korean Zombie shirt. Forgot that I had it on until I saw the green on it, and I was like, oh, yeah. But anyway, Ian Gary, his wrestling is not great. He's not overly athletic. Again, you said it earlier. He's a white guy. White guys, I have zero athleticism. None.
Besides
-4.
privilege, they don't have much else.
That's it. I have some privilege, but I do not have athleticism. I can't even touch the net on a basketball hoop. But what Ian Gary does have is height. He's 6'3". I actually don't like how he rocks back and leans away when people throw at him against almost anybody on the roster except for Darian Weeks, who's 5'10". So he rocks away. I think that is actually to his favor here. His wrestling is not great. Darian Weeks definitely has a wrestling, advantage, but he scrambles well. He knows his jiu-jitsu is legitimately very good. He understands cage control. He understands cage presence. He understands how he's going to win. And he's got a beautiful jab cross combo. Just jab, rolls back, 1, 2. I mean, really, his movement is really good. His cardio is good. His pace is good. On the other side of that, we have Darian Weeks. I don't know what the hell. And it's so weird because it's almost like Rozenstruik. He's so inactive. When he does stuff, he does stuff well. His punches are fundamentally good. He hits hard. He's got a good teep kick that he does well. When he shoots, it's very good. When people try and jiu-jitsu him, he stops kind of everything. He really nullifies the jiu-jitsu game. He really nullifies a lot. My big worry with Weeks is one, his inactivity. Two is his inexperience. It's funny because him and Gary actually have a similar amount of pro fights. Weeks has probably infinitely more amateur fights. He just doesn't fight like he is ready for the big show yet, though. And then the third thing is his cardio. So we've seen him get tired. We've seen him fade a little bit. And I think with his inactivity, and I think Gary is going to be in your face and make you fight, and he will scramble the hell out of some shit. It's like we were talking about with Malott and Mickey Gall. If Gary wants to get this fight going fast, start wrestling Weeks. Even if he can't out wrestle him, if he shoots in and starts scrambling some jiu-jitsu, some wrestling scrambles, Weeks is going to fade pretty fast. Weeks hits hard. He looks good. I don't think that he is ready for the competition of the UFC. And I think the over is not bad here either, because I think Weeks is durable. I think over 1.5 is solid, but I think Ian Gary takes this one.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, there's two big prospects on this card, right? You got Hazmat Chimaev and you got Ian Gary, and then people want to say, like people just want hot takes, and they say, yeah, Ian Gary is the worst ever. He's so overhyped. It's like, come on, guys, he's not overhyped. Just watch the guy. Watch any fight before the UFC, before the guy that just is fighting for his literal job, just chucking bricks and overhands and gunning right for his head. Watch any fight before that. You can tell the guy's got skills. The guy is good. He's very, very good. He makes right decisions. He's at Sanford working full-time with Henry Hooft. He's only getting better. This to me is the don't overthink it. And again, just like you said, it's not because Weeks isn't good. Weeks has a lot of potential. I think he can be a good player in the division, but I don't see a way that he beats Ian Gary here. The jabs, like you said, the rocks, everything that Ian Gary does is high volume. It's impactful. He looks great, scrambles well. His counter wrestling, like you said, when he gets taken down, he's back up. Good jiu-jitsu. I think he's such a stud. I think this is an easy one here. And again, not because Weeks is bad, but because Ian Gary is so good. I love Ian Gary here. No way about it.
The other thing about this, and a lot of people might not know, is Weeks, where's he training? He went up to James Krause's place for 2 weeks, and then was either left or kicked out, or something happened that he left and was no longer there, which, Krause is a pretty mellow guy. Like, I mean, he's going to demand that you work your ass off and that you're respectful and you show up.
And that you pay.
What happened there sorry, what was that?
Oh, nothing. Now go ahead.
I said, so what happened there that he left? So that right there, somebody in the UFC who's not welcome in a gym, that's kind of a weird red flag anyway. And then where does he go? Who is he training with? What is he doing? It's such a big unknown to kind of have that Ronin lifestyle at the UFC level.
Well, I mean, don't overthink it, guys. They're putting Ian Gary on a major pay-per-view in a primetime spot against a guy that has not a ton of high-level experience. Look at Ian Gary's record. So if you guys watch Cage Warriors with me this week, you saw a lot of prospects, a lot of really, really good guys. Okay. Let's see. Ian Gary beat James Sheehan, who beat the hell out of his opponent last weekend. Looked phenomenal. He's beaten Mateusz Figlak, who's going to be the next Cage Warriors guy at the UFC. He beat George McManus, who's a good striker. And he beat Jack Grant, who's an ultra veteran, black belt, wrestler, crazy striker. Those are great high-level wins at an early time in his career. So just more big-time experience, 5 rounds. Ian Gary's a stud, guys. Don't overthink this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I think Weeks has really not fought the best competition. And he lost a decision to Brian Barberina. And albeit that was on 5 days' notice, got it. But we can only go off of what we saw and what we've seen of Weeks and what we've seen of Gary. I again, as Brandon would say, don't overthink it.
All right. Next up. We got From Hell, Vince Pichel, and
From
Mark
Hell,
O.
Vince
Madsen.
Pichel, and Mark O. Madsen. And, so I'm not going to talk about this fight too much. Of course, I train Mark, have for, a while now. But fun fact, I don't know why, but everything says Mark capital O Madsen. And it's not Mark Madsen, it's like capital O Madsen, but he's the Olympian, Mark Madsen. I always thought, oh, is that just like Mark the Olympian Madsen or something? They just always add that. No, his middle name is Overgaard. And so that's his actual middle name. I don't know why they have his middle name on everything. Mark O Madsen, as if it's like I want to go to him for financial advice. Mark O Madsen. Like anybody with a middle initial, I'll give you my money. Separate from that, I mean, this is a striker versus grappler. I'm not going to get into it too much. The only thing I'm going to say on this is everybody I have heard speak about Vince Pichel says he is the strongest guy at 155 ever. And the Mark Madsen is single-handedly the strongest person I have ever felt ever in my life, probably at any weight, but especially at 155. I'm a good black belt. I train with all the guys all the time. I win some, I lose some, I do this, I do that. Mark Madsen grabs you. Like when we're doing rounds and we're telling the training partners, so Mark gets the takedown and we're like, hey, get back up, make him work, get back up. And they don't even try. They look at us like, are you retarded? What do you think I'm doing? Like, it's not going to happen. And so I'm curious about this because, I mean, these are the two strongest humans on the planet. And I'm curious to see who's stronger.
I didn't do much film on this one. I know how good Mark's wrestling is, from watching past fights. I like Vince. I think he's an ultra veteran. He's 39 years old, and he did just beat Austin Hubbard, which was a great victory. I like Mark here, just the wrestling aspects. There's no slant, there's no lean. This is one that I didn't get around to finishing up, but I like Mark here. I think he's that wrestling is the great equalizer, and I think Vince is going to be on his back majority of the fight. Is what I feel.
That wouldn't make me mad. It wouldn't make me mad. All right, next up we've got Mackenzie Dern and Tisha Torres, and before we get to that though, what? Hold on, people.
What's up,
We've got a guest.
Here.
What's up?
And
What's
new.
up?
Oh, and he comes with gifts. Now sponsored by Zombie Energy Drink, the new sponsor of MMA Breakdowns and Bets.
Zombie Energy.
Oh, here we've also got some of the crew. We've got
What's up,
Eddie.
guys?
We've got Big.
Yes.
We've got Kaibi
Big,
back
wow.
there.
Not famous.
And yeah, Kaibi's not famous, but Big is famous. And we've got Zombie. So
Best of luck, fellas.
we got to ask you, Zombie, a couple of fights. Who do you think is going to win, Gilbert Burns or Chimaev?
I think Gilbert Burns.
Gilbert Burns. All right, so you guys heard it here
Wow.
first. Now the next one is Peter Yan and Aldo.
I think Jan plus I want to May.
Yeah, I think Yan is too good right now. Now, how's the main event going to go down?
Sure. 100.
Absolutely. Main event and new champion right there. Zombie. And all the Zombie Energy drink you can have too. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you later. I'll head over there in a little bit. All right, you guys. You heard it here first.
What the hell
Burns
is that
is
guy's
winning.
problem?
Gilbert Burns is winning. Peter Yan is winning. And of course, the Korean Zombie is going to win that one. So thanks for coming on, Zombie, and giving everybody your thoughts. All right. We're on Tisha Torres and Mackenzie Dern. So who went last time? I don't even know. Was it?
I think you've got the last like 5. That's okay.
Go for it, Brandon. Go for it. Give me your thoughts.
Now, this is a really tough one too. I see a lot of groupthink on Tisha Torres, and let me see. I have been back and forth on it all week. This is again a really really close fight because I think striking wise, we all know that Tisha Torres is miles and miles ahead of Mackenzie. She's just cleaner, more technical. She's faster. Mackenzie's got a big overhand, so that's it. But the great equalizer here is if this goes to the ground, Mackenzie's legit good. Oh, hold on. Bathroom break.
No, you're good. I was just turning the light out because with the lights out and the other, on, all you see is my glistening forehead and the vent behind me.
We still see it. Just kidding. This one's just really interesting. I think Mackenzie struggled with a lot of people who are a lot bigger than her. This is the first time she's going to fight somebody who's 5'1", while Mackenzie's 5'4". Kind of what your read was in the Marina fight, which was dead wrong, even though she did have a couple good rounds. Is she just throws stupid bombs just to get in close, and then she's aggressive. She's strong. She doesn't necessarily. Everyone talks about how bad her wrestling is, but if you watch a lot of her fights, it's not a lot of times her wrestling that's getting the fight to the ground. A couple times she's fallen and girls jumped on top of her. A couple times she's, kind of pulled weird guard, and then she finds her way to the top, and she's legitimately very, very good on top. I mean, she throws elbows. Her control is excellent. So this kind of group think that Tisha Torres is just going to pick her apart and go across the ring. I think Tisha's a little bit stiff. And I think when she gets taken down, Jessica Andrade's jiu-jitsu compared to Mackenzie Dern's is not in the same galaxy. It's not even close. And one thing I'm really impressed with is coming from a sport jiu-jitsu background, how well Mackenzie has kind of transitioned it to MMA. She's kind of like what we talked about with Paul Craig, where Paul Craig actually has a really, really active attacking guard, and that's rare in MMA. Mackenzie has that, but at a world championship black belt level, which is extremely impressive. I think you guys are playing with fire by picking Tisha Torres and Tisha Torres by decision. For everybody saying that and thinking that Tisha Torres is gonna smoke her, it's weird that the lines are dead even still. It's weird that maybe big money is silent money, and I don't know why I got this gut feeling that Mackenzie's going to find a way to do it. All it's going to take is one takedown. That's it.
This is a weird one for me because I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I just want to add a few things. I was dead wrong in that her last fight, Marina, and
but she did look good at some points.
But I was wrong about the outcome. But I was 110% right on how the fight would go down. Mackenzie goes out there and she just throws these heaters. I thought she would land a little bit more and end up rocking her and have better success with it. But the fight went down the way, it was a point game versus the heaters. I don't know that Mackenzie's striking has gotten cleaner. I feel like it's almost gotten like sloppier. It's just, she's just more willing to throw down. Now she is down to fight. She throws, and that's Mackenzie's bit. I mean, outside of her world-class jiu-jitsu, she is game and she is tough as shit. All right. So she is down to fight. Her striking, and the thing that worries me most about her is, of course, she has her dad and she has the jiu-jitsu, right? We know that. She's got jiu-jitsu, yay. Her striking, she has Jason Perillo as her boxing coach. I don't know that she's really getting better, that she's really doing a lot here. In terms of on a technical level, who's working her kickboxing? That's a question. More than anything, my biggest question with Mackenzie, who's working her wrestling and who's working her cage wrestling? I don't know that she's working. She's working at Ruka. She's working at these places. Does she have a wrestling coach? And even if she does she have a cage wrestling coach? And that to me is just insane that she is one of the best jiu-jitsu, probably the best jiu-jitsu girl in the game, and doesn't work her wrestling. And if you do see her wrestling, it is bad singles, head down, back like bent over. I mean, her best takedown is guard pulling. and then scrambling on top. So that to me is just insane. I don't think she can get the fight to the ground if she paid Tisha to take a dive. On the other side of that, Tisha finds her way on the bottom from doing so much dumb stuff. Literally against Angie Hill, she slipped multiple times, just throwing these wild things and ended up on the bottom. Like, if you end up on the bottom against Mackenzie, that is a bad spot to be in. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't want to be there. And so it really, for as bad as Mackenzie's takedowns are, for as bad as Mackenzie's striking is, it wouldn't surprise me to see Mackenzie end up on top, whether she pulls guard and finds her way on top, or just Tisha Torres just slips and just wiggles her way to the ground. The other thing, and this is the biggest, again, that all said, we'll get to what I'm going to say in a second. Everything that I just said, I still think Tisha Torres wins. I think Tisha Torres moves so much. It's in a bigger cage. It's a pay-per-view. Her striking is legit. Her cardio's relatively good, but she does definitely slow down. Her movement slows down in the second and the third round, okay? But I think all things considered, whatever, I think Tisha Torres probably wins. Now, here's the biggest thing of this fight whatsoever. Raquel Pennington, her wife or fiance, I don't know what, is fighting earlier on the card. And I have had brothers fight on the same card before, and the first sibling always does fine. They don't care. The second one does not do well because they're sitting there all nerved up and emotional and watching their loved one fight. And then they win, lose, or draw, whatever, and that adrenaline is gone. And now they have to get themselves back up to fight themselves. And that's one of the things of course, I trained Tracy Cortez. I trained Junior Cortez. I've had multiple promotions try and book both of them on the same card, and I've adamantly refused. I said, absolutely not. And they're like, oh, we'll space them out. Well, this, well, that. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. The adrenaline of watching somebody you love and care for and then having a fight yourself. I mean, as a coach, you've been in the corner. It's more nerve-wracking to watch other people fight who you care about than it is to fight yourself because you don't have control. And that's what I wonder about this fight. Is Tisha Torres going to have a big adrenaline dump watching Raquel fight and then have to go do it herself? And because of that, I really worry about everything. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I totally agree about the adrenaline thing and just even messing with your mental, right? Just, win or lose, tough fight. You see somebody you love or care for get hurt. That just takes extra focus away from what you're doing. I actually didn't know that they were still together. For some reason, I thought they had broken up. So seeing the flowers today, but it's weird. It looks like they're traveling separate. I don't really know what's going on with all that. I'm with you. I think that Tisha is probably the better overall MMA fighter, where Mackenzie is definitely a specialist, but I just think it takes that one time. My old jiu-jitsu coach used to tell me, your defense has to be 100% always, 100%. But offensively, you just have to be there 1% of the time. That's all you have to be successful is 1% of the time, and you win. That's it. So by some crazy slip or Mackenzie pulling guard and catching a leg, something. She has 3 rounds to try to get Tisha down, make her pay, catch a choke, catch a submission. And she is so slick and so clean with everything. I don't feel conviction super crazy either way, but for some reason I just have a gut. It's Mackenzie.
Yeah. Nothing would surprise me here. I think, I think that Mackenzie is the tougher fighter. I think Tisha's physicality is phenomenal, and I think she's just so technical. I really want Mackenzie to win here. I think she's the better just dog who's in it. I think over is decent here. I think over 1.5. But man, this is one I'm probably going to stay away from.
I think that's smart. All right, now we got the murderer's row, the fights that we all are gonna wait for. So next up, we got Khamzat Chimaev and Gilbert Burns.
This is a wild one to me. in the sense that the lines are out of freaking control. You've got Gilbert Burns, who's 20-4, and you've got Khamzat Chimaev, who is 10-0, 4-0 in the UFC. Never beaten a top 10 opponent. He beat Jingling Li, which was who's not a world beater, but the way that he beat him was absolutely impressive. It was. He beat Gerald Mearshart, went out there and just, punched him. He fell down. That was that. Then Reese McKee and John Phillips. I'm sorry, but those guys are not world beaters. But down the list, 5-0, 8-3, 8-0, 4-0. Whatever. You can only fight the guys who you fought. I don't think Khamzat is dodging anyone. I think he's fighting whoever will fight him. But Gilbert Burns is freaking 20-4 with, Stephen Thompson, Tyron Woodley, Damian Maia, Gunnar Nelson, Alexei Kunchenko, Mike Davis. Going down the freaking line. And his only losses are to Usman. Let's see. He did lose to Craig Jones by heel hook. But Usman, and then you got to go back to 2018 when he was down at 155 when he lost to Dan Hooker. This dude has fought a who's who of the sport and has looked good doing it. Give us your thoughts on this first. I've taken up most of the majority of these first. So let me hear your thoughts and I'll chime in here in a minute.
Yeah. When I'm kind of creating these parlays this week, this is one I just don't, man, I don't know if I feel so comfortable like, oh man, this is a lock. I think Gilbert is, he is so game and he's so good. That's the deal with him. His leg kicks, his striking is beautiful. His counter wrestling. Weirdly enough, it's like we've kind of seen a shift in MMA where wrestling actually is not even becoming the go-to anymore. It's becoming so easy to defend. It's becoming so easy to defend wrestling that these guys get tired and then they start getting picked apart. If you like Khamzat, I think that's a fine pick. I think, he should win. This is a showcase. This is a stage for him. I like Gilbert Burns, man. I think he is game. I think that Usman moment was a low point in his life. He was crying. He was upset. And he seems focused to me. He seems very focused. He seems like he did when he beat the hell out of Woodley. Like, he's back. He beat Stephen Thompson. He looked great doing it. I think he's game. Really what I want out of this fight is over a round or over a round and a half. I think that's such a great pick. I heard Kraus likes that pick. I love that pick. I think actually, weirdly enough, the way that Gilbert would lose this fight is on the feet. If Khamzat just comes out and starches him, catches him on the chin. But man, I like Gilbert here. I like him to survive. Over 1.5 would be my pick. I think really you should say don't overthink it. Probably Khamzat, but man, I would love to see a Gilbert upset.
In terms of a betting line, I agree with you 100% that over 1.5, is the play. But actually, I said again, I'm talking freaking out of both sides of my mouth here, and I don't mean to be really talking out of both sides of my mouth. I'm just kind of thinking it through as I'm talking with you. The crazy thing about this fight is we don't know Khamzat's cardio. All right. We know Gilbert Burns can go 3 rounds. We know it.
Hard.
We have not seen Khamzat fight. Rumor has it that after 1 round in the gym, he's tired. Now, how much can you trust that? Who knows? What we do know is Gilbert Burns is 35. He's not going to out wrestle Khamzat. Like, that's something I'll say. I don't care. I don't even care if I'm wrong. I'm saying it. He's not going to out wrestle Khamzat. He's a 3-time Swedish national champ, which, Sweden's not Russia or Dagestan. Of course, Dagestan's part of it, or, Iran, but Sweden wrestling is decent. Their freestyle program is good. And he grew up wrestling in Russia. He grew up wrestling. Then when he was 18, he went to Sweden. Then from there, he won 3 national championships in Sweden. He just smoked Jack Hermanson in a freestyle match. And he threw that big ass dude around like nothing for for a good majority of the first half of that match. Hamzat is good. He's training with Darren Till all the time. He's fast. He's dynamic. The big question mark is his cardio. We have not seen it. Gilbert Burns, again, he's 35. I was rewatching the Usman fight, and I thought in my head, Gilbert Burns was so much more technical as a striker. Hands up, chin down, good guard on balance. And watching that fight, man, his hands are down. He's kind of reaching with stuff. His punches are kind of looping. I don't know if that was a style or if he's just gotten so comfortable that he's gotten lazy. But I think the way for Gilbert to win this fight is going to be cardio. And I'm not saying that he's going to out cardio him. That's just the thing that we just don't know. Can he? What is Hamzat's cardio? I think that Hamzat is going to maul Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns is a phenomenal jiu-jitsu guy. We all know that. He's a top player jiu-jitsu guy. Have we ever seen him, even in jiu-jitsu, win off of his back? This is not a guy who's armbar triangling, guillotining. And Gilbert Burns slows down a bit too. I mean, he's a dynamic guy. He's older. I think the world is screaming, Gilbert Burns is Gilbert Burns. Like, this is too big of a jump. Like, but I honestly don't think that, like, he's not going to out wrestle Hamzat. And Hamzat's striking is not bad.
It's not at all.
From what we've seen, it's good. More than anything, he's just fast. He's going to have a better chin. I like Hamzat here. I don't even know if I like a play on it because I think Hamzat's too expensive here. And I think it's a risky fight. I think with the odds being what they are, I think Hamzat wins. I like Hamzat here. Outside of cardio, that's a big unknown, but we can't bet what we don't know.
Exactly.
And I like Hamzat. I wouldn't touch this straight up because the odds are too, it's just not a good bet. And then I wouldn't touch over and under because, I mean, this could be a 1 minute affair, or this could go 3 rounds to a decision. I say sit back. This fight is going to tell us who Hamzat is. Gilbert Burns is no slouch. If he wins this by the skin of his teeth, it shows that he is legit. If he gets knocked out in 10 seconds, it shows where he's at. This is a fight. We don't know enough about Hamzat to really throw big money on it. Everybody loves Gilbert Burns at +3, +400. Who in the hell wouldn't love Gilbert Burns at those odds? I say save your money. Put whatever money you hope to win on a big, giant win somewhere and put it on something that you just feel safe with. I like Hamzat here, and I think it's nuts that I do still think it's nuts that the odds are the way that they are in his favor, but I don't know outside of cardio how Gilbert wins this.
Yeah, I can't see a situation that he necessarily does. I want to say don't overthink it for Hamzat. Like I said, I would like to see Gilbert do it because I like Gilbert. I think he's awesome and he's game. But I think it's a don't overthink that. This is Hamzat's showcase here.
Okay, we got the co-main. We got Aljo Sterling and Peter Yan. Kick it off. Let me hear what you think. Why don't you kick off Peter Yan and I'll kick off Aljo and we'll kind of find our way in the middle here.
I've never seen anybody like Peter Yan. Peter Yan to me is the best fighter in the UFC. It's not even close. The guy is incredible. If he has any flaws, sometimes I guess it's fight IQ. And people want to say, oh, he's downloading information. And my only knock with him is he reminds me a lot of Vasily Lomachenko. And, the one fight that Vasily Lomachenko legitimately lost was the Teofimo Lopez fight. And they just kept saying he's downloading information until it was 8 rounds into the fight. And he's finally starting to pick it up and he lost the entire first half of the fight. That is my only knock with Peter Yan is he is so comfortable and he knows how freaking good he is. He's one of the few guys that knows how good he is and is actually even better than he knows that he is. He is insane. He's so phenomenal. I just worry about him giving up rounds. But honestly, in this matchup, with the kind of mind games that he should already have over Aljo after starting to put it on him and beat him up and all the ridicule that Aljo's gotten over this time, I don't see how this fight goes really any different. It's funny is like a lot of people's scorecards had Aljo up 1 or 2 rounds at the very beginning. And the narrative of the fight was that he just got destroyed because that's what was starting to happen. And you could feel that current changing. I don't see how Aljo wins here. I mean, is he going to knock Peter Yan out? I doubt it. He's too loopy with his punches. He's too spastic. He's too in and out. Is he going to out wrestle Yan? He had a really tough time doing it in the first fight. How's he going to do much better now? Is he going to win a decision? He could, but in order to win a decision, he's got to keep Yan off him. And then he's throwing high volume. And can his cardio last those 5 rounds? I mean, the thing that's amazing about Yan is how stoic he is. He sees everything. He's got the best eyes I've ever seen in my life. His strikes are clean. They're beautiful. He just does everything right. I mean, he's the best fighter that I personally have ever seen in my life.
Before I get to Aljo, I just want to add one thing. You talked about the momentum shift, and I remember watching that fight originally thinking Aljo was winning. Like that was like he won the first round or second, and then the tide started to turn and he kind of adrenalined himself out and started, and that was the tide shift. The Aljo just went so hot and heavy early that the adrenaline got him and the nerves got him, and then his output was crazy, so he started to fade. And then I rewatched the fight. In just round one, you guys, Peter Yan dropped Aljo with a punch. Peter Yan dropped Aljo with a leg kick. And Peter Yan took Aljo down and then let him back up and defended got back up. He did get taken down once, got back up to his feet. That was in round 1. He took Aljo down, dropped him with a leg kick, dropped him with a punch. I don't know that he's downloading information. I think he's just waiting for the right opportunity. And that is downloading information. So I don't because yes, I know what you're saying. I do agree with you. And I do agree that he downloads a little bit too long. He needs to upgrade his internet speed. They're in Russia. They're not getting the 100, 200, 300 meg speeds. Aljo, on the other hand, he's long, he's rangy, and his striking is not bad. It's gotten a lot better. He chooses his shots well. His volume is great. And he was not a great college wrestler. Everyone wants to talk about his wrestling. His wrestling, I think he was a 500 wrestler at Cortland State up in New York. And that was a D3 college. I grew up in Ithaca, New York, so I know Cortland well, which is right next door. This puts it into perspective. Just recently, I think I saw 3-5 months ago, something like that, Aljo, Merab, and somebody else went to an open tournament in Long Island. And it was a college tournament, okay? So this is a university level tournament, all right? Merab took first place and just smoked everybody. I mean, just mauled he is launching these poor freaking college All-Americans on their head. I mean, these are D1 and 2 college All-Americans, and Merab was treating them like prostitutes. Aljo took third, which is legitimately, hey, that's good, great. But I mean, it just shows the level of wrestling, even in that room. Aljo's dynamic, all of that stuff. You said it already. I don't know how Peter loses this fight. I don't know. I think the only way that he could lose this fight is if Aljo comes. If you try and beat Peter Yan with technique, you're mistaken. I think Aljo needs to go out there for 2 rounds. He needs to think of this as a 2-round fight and go balls to the wall and throw everything he can at him and hope that he catches him in something. And if round 2 ends and they're still standing, Aljo needs to just lie down and tap out because he's not going to have any energy left. Just like send it, full freaking send for 2 rounds. And if he's still standing afterwards, just figure it out.
Yeah, I agree. Good take.
I think it might go the distance, though. I think it could be a 5-round beating.
I doubt it. I really, really doubt it. I think Peter Yan's got some stuff to show this time, and once he starts letting the power go and making it his, I just don't think this is going to go 5 rounds.
Man, I'm yelling 5 rounds over here, and here's my thought process. I mean, he went 5 rounds, or 3 rounds with Dotson, 3 rounds with Rivera, finish Uriah. Aldo, who is known to have major cardio issues, got into round 5. Sanhagen was 5 rounds as well. I think I don't know what the odds are on the overs right now, but over 1.5, 2.5, 3.5. I think those are solid bets. You get to over 4.5. That's getting a little risky, but I think over 2.5, over 3.5 are solid here.
I took a play on DraftKings. It is Peter Yan to win and over 1.5. It's like a little combination bet at minus 360, which is still not amazing, but I'm a parlay player, guys, so I don't really care about the one-off odds. I put that with whoever else that you like on the card. But minus 360 for Peter Yan is a good price for me. So Yan over 1.5, DraftKings, go get that one.
That's a great bet. And I mean, honestly, that brings us to the main event now, which of course I've got somebody in, so I'll keep it short. But before we get to that, you guys go to the Patreon. Man, make some money. I think our picks are great. We've done well. Brandon is killing it on the regional scene, and come on in, see what we're doing in there, and come chat in the Discord. That is so much fun. We have a lot of random threads. We're talking about everything, but we're just interacting and engaging. It's a very fun community. It's only $25 a month. Some people pay $100, $150 a fight card for people's bets. You're getting all of our UFC bets for the entire month, all the regional cards, all the regional shows, and the Discord for $25 a month. Can't beat it. I mean, I have spent more money on lunch at Chick-fil-A for $25. So come on in, and and then also I asked Eddie Cha for a link where you guys can get our zombie energy drink over here. I say our zombie energy drink as if I'm part of it.
We're partners. They're
We're
sponsoring
partners.
the show.
Turns out you can only get zombie energy drink in Korea right now. So good luck with that. I would link it in the show notes, but the only link I will give you, I will put get zombie energy drink here, and that will just be like a download to my like Cash App or something like that. So watch it. Do not click on the zombie energy drink link. Other than that, man, we've got Volk, we've got zombie. I'm not going to say a lot, but what I am going to say, and I said this on Lock Show, I was on there, I don't even know, last night, the night before, 7 nights ago with this coach's challenge thing, is this comes down to on the stand-up level, Volk's movement and his leg kicks versus Zombie's power. I mean, that right there is the riddle. Who can move and touch versus power? That. On the grappling side of it, we have Volk, who, he shoots. He's got a really good inside trip. Can Zombie avoid that inside trip and the takedown? But I think more importantly, can Zombie avoid spending too much time on the fence? I think Aldo is a good fight to watch where Volk really, struck for a little while, and then he just pushed Aldo against the fence, hung out there. Aldo slowed down a little bit, and of course, we saw the rest. He tends to wrestle more in the later rounds. I think he thought he was probably down by 2 rounds going into that max third round in their last fight. And we saw him start to wrestle. Can Zombie defend the wrestling? Is Zombie's jiu-jitsu, which is highly underrated, can that capitalize on some things? That's the grappling area. And then the striking area is power versus movement and inside leg kicks. I don't know that cardio is going to be an issue here on either side. I think both guys have phenomenal cardio. They've never really had cardio issues. And that's it from me. That's it for me. On another note, whether you guys like a Volk here, whether you like Zombie here, in terms of betting, Zombie is one of the nicest humans I have ever met and one of the most coachable people I have ever coached. So it's nothing but a pleasure to be around him. It's nothing but a pleasure to coach him. He's a really fun guy. And the last thing I'm going to say is this is the best walkout that we're ever going to see. We've got Zombie with the cranberries on one side and Volk, who is comes out to Men at Work with the Land Down Under. So it's in front of a crowd. We're going to have some fun walkouts. Zombie is ready. I'm sure Volk is ready. Let the better man win. Let's go. And new champion, Zombie.
I can't wait to see this fight. This is another one, and I'm not saying this being a homer, but First of all, I do want to point out there is 2 Santino DeFranco belts in this world. Zombie is a black belt, and I am the brown belt. Rare breed, so we stick together. But I will say this fight is super, super fascinating to me. I don't think it's the runaway that everybody thinks that it is. Volk, I think, is honestly one of the best fighters on planet Earth. The guy is amazing. His feints, his movement. He's one of the most intelligent, beautiful strikers I've ever seen. And so is Zombie. Zombie's counter, his boxing, everything Zombie does is just beautiful. So I honestly think this fight is going to be so much closer than people think that it's going to be. You have 2 counter punchers. You have 2 intellectual counter strikers going at it. One guy's a little bit taller, a little bit longer, a little bit slicker, and the other guy's the cannonball bull in a china shop. So I think this fight is going to be so much closer than people think, and for that reason, I'm out.
Well, there you have it. There you have it. There you have it. You know, that's all we got, you guys. That is all we got. That is all of the fights on the card from Jacksonville, from Scottsdale. Well, I was going to say from Scottsdale, Arizona, but you're not. You're in Phoenix, Arizona.
If I win a couple more bets, I'll be in Scottsdale.
Yeah, you need to win some more, and you'll come hang out in Scottsdale with us a little more. I say that I live in Phoenix. I guess I train at Fight Ready as if I live there. I don't belong. All right, you guys, that is everything, man. Throw some comments, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But honestly, comment. Let's hear what you guys think on this one.
It's good to be back, guys. Thanks so much.